To make these video series a little bit shorter, and that's why I'm doing the part 2, because generally I don't like to go on to video. It's more likely that people are going to watch multiple short videos than just one long drawn out video, because you just don't have time for that. I usually don't either. So that's why I'm doing these in separate parts, and I'm trying to keep them to 15 minutes. But as I was saying, most black people refuse to admit to themselves that they've been brainwashed, and that's why they won't correct it, because for them, they have to be rooted to this white people aren't superior and white supremacy doesn't affect them, when in actuality white supremacy exists all day every day. White supremacy doesn't care if you believe in it. It's still going on, and they believe it. White people believe you're inferior to them, and so therefore they're going to act on that premise that you're inferior to them simply because you're black. But a lot of black people have this stupid mindset that they feel like just because they don't feel like white people are superior to them, when it's like, number one, yeah, you do feel like white people are superior to you, and I'm going to tell you why. You do feel like white people are superior to you because they've conditioned you over the years that they are superior to you. So that's why a lot of you run around with the same white supremacist attitudes that white supremacists have. The only difference is it's wrapped in a black body, and that white supremacy isn't benefiting you. So that's the only difference from it. But yeah, until we realize as a black community that we have been horrifically brainwashed to hate ourselves, you can't erase it. You're not going to erase it. And you have to be very much consciously aware of this. And that goes back to even the concept of the spirituality. It amazes me. I had this conversation with an African guy actually one time, and he told me that, you know, he's a Christian. And that's fine. My thing is, have whatever belief system that you want to have. But what I do is I'm going to question it. I'm naturally a person, I'm going to question everything. If you tell me to do something and you want me to think a certain way, then you need to tell me why you want to do that. And then if it doesn't make sense and it doesn't add up to me, then I'm not doing it. Now, I've always had a problem with the Bible, specifically for the fact that it's very contradictory. You can take a number of different Bibles, all the same virgins, but you can get different things out of them. To me, if it's going to be a word of God, then it shouldn't be up to interpretation for anyone. That same Bible that black people have to cling to is the same Bible that white people use to justify slaving you, beating you, raping you, torturing you, setting you on fire, hanging you from trees, whipping you until your flesh falls off, and then killing you, as well as feeding your babies to crocodiles and saying that you're less than a human. All of them use that book to justify that. So as far as I'm concerned, the whole religion is shady to me. Believe what you want to believe, but my thing is this. Why am I going to believe that a group of people that historically and presently have been oppressing me, I know for a fact that they lied to me about at least 99.9% of everything that had to do with me as a black person. We all know that. At this point, we all know that white people have lied to black people about every single thing that has to do with who they are as a people. So why would you think that this group of people that you know lied to about everything is going to preserve the one thing that would give them the most power over you? You would be a fool and an idiot to think that. And that's why I think most black people are fools and idiots, because they still cling to this Christianity. And then I still have a lot of people telling me, oh, who cares? The race doesn't matter. Black people are worse Christians in Ethiopia. Okay, but you know what? The thing of it is that black people in Ethiopia weren't subscribing to American Christianity that says their God is white. They weren't doing that. So that's really just what it is. And you can sit there and convince themselves that you were, but they're not. And then a lot of people will say, I need to get this, a text message from my sister. Okay. Yeah, but so like I was saying, you know, the thing of it is most black people, you aren't serving Ethiopian Christianity. You're serving white slave master Ethiopian or Christianity, excuse me. That's what you're serving. So no, you're not being conscious. If you serve white Christianity, you're being stupid. And then this is why I say you have to critically think. So for me, these are the things that doesn't add up. In that Bible, Does it or does it not say that God made men in his image? Okay, so let's say this, and he created the sun, he created the moon, he created the stars. So somebody answer for me, and when you guys can answer this for me to where it makes sense, then maybe I'll continue to, I will believe in your Christianity. Why, as a God, would you create a sun that you can't be in without burning? So you mean to tell me that God is a white man, and so he's going to create a sun that's going to give him a adverse reaction, and that he has to put something on his body to counteract it? Really? Number two, we know historically black people were the first people who inhabited the earth. We already know that. So you mean to tell me he's going to create a race of people that look completely different from him, and that race of people genetically is superior to him because that race of people can be under the sun which he created and they won't burn? How much sense does that really make to you? So when I was having this conversation with this African, he says that he believes that Jesus is God. That's fine. Believe that if you want to believe. But what I asked this African is okay, so your spirituality is within you. We already know within you, you connect to your spirituality. My question for this African was, then why is it that you didn't know that Jesus was your God until white people came and colonized your country and told you that Jesus were your God? Period. Even though he admitted that Africans originally did not subscribe to Christianity. They didn't. He will admit to this. So my question is why is it that you didn't know who your God was and came until white people came and told you who your God was? That's my problem. That is my problem. My problem is that we already know African religion was not Christianity. We know that for a fact. We know white people can't be in the sun without burning. We know that same Bible says God made man in his same image. So why then is God going to create something that he can't be in? I'm waiting for somebody to tell me that. Please tell me that. Please tell me why God would create a sun that he can't stand to be in without being burned. Once somebody answers that question for me, then Christianity will make sense. And it will make sense to me why black people are still subscribing to Christianity. The problem with it is that black people want to sit here and they want to tell you that the race doesn't matter. That's fine. Okay, that's fine. All you're saying is that you're not a racist person, and regardless to the race, you will still accept that person. There's nothing wrong with that. But rest assured that your brain cares about the race of that God, because not one of you can tell me honestly that when you envision Jesus that you don't envision a white man. You guys can't even tell me that when you envision God you don't envision a white man. So let's just take it deeper than Jesus. You guys associate God with a white entity, and whoever says that, you're lying. Period. You're lying. So therefore, I don't even care about anything that you say. Because I'll tell you, when I envision Jesus, I envision a white Jesus. And you know why? Because that is what was pushed into my psyche. And that's because that's called advertising. Let's look at it like this. Catfish. Same concept. A person making a profile representing themselves as something that they're not. Meaning, if I chose to change my Facebook profile to a white woman, and I went out with that white profile and I talked to people and I got that person enticed in me, and that person fell in love with me based on the fact that they thought that I was white. I show up to that person and I meet them and I'm a black person. They're going to feel tricked. They're going to feel like they've been lied to about everything, because you know what that does? That changes who I am as a person. I'm not that white woman that I said that I was. I'm this black woman. Same concept with Christianity. Once you see that Christianity and you think of Jesus and you see him as a white man, although you know historically he was a black man, you're serving a completely different God. You're an idiot if you think that you're not. You're not serving the God that you originally were supposed to serve in Ethiopia. You don't even know the name of that God. So how are you going to serve your correct God? You don't even know the name of him. You don't know the name of him, and now your image of him is a white man. Your name for him is a name that didn't even exist until the 1600s. number one. So that's what I'm trying to say, is how did these Africans know, how did he as an African know now that Jesus was his God, and he's rooted to that, and he doesn't want to look outside of it, but then you know that you didn't have any concept of your God until a white person told you that was your God. That's the problem. Black people want to sit here and stay in this comfortable lie, and it's a lie. Period. Because even, let's just say, even this is the truth. That's fine. Even if that is the truth, then God is going to understand why you would want to go out there and authenticate his existence and who he really is. You really think that you're going to serve a loving God, and he's not going to understand that because because he was introduced to you by a group of people that lied to you about everything else, you don't think he's going to understand you questioning it? He's going to understand you questioning it. But the thing that black people don't get, and it relates, it circles back to right now. Look at what's happening presently with Christians. You can have a white man go shoot up a church full of black people, and those same black people who are directly affected by that, who are mourning the death of their family, not even 2 days after they died, and they're in a bail hearing saying that they forgive that person. And you know why? Because Christianity told you to forgive your slave master, although he's raping you and killing you and subjecting you to extreme brutality and torture. They told you to turn the other cheek. That Bible told you to be a good slave and not to run away from your master. And that's the same thing that you're doing right now. You're being a good slave. You're being a compliant slave. You're being a slave that's not going to say anything, that's not going to question anything. That's what you're being. And that's why black people can go out and brutalize black people and not forgive black people, but they won't do it to white people. And that's why I say black people are cowards, because you're too cowardly to even stand in your truth and admit to yourself that white people brought your thought process and your whole identity for you. You're not ready to even admit to yourself that. So therefore, you can't get into that. And that's why I say, when people want to come on here and you want to throw out shots and you want to say all this stuff, you know, about me wearing weave, and if I choose, which I chose to wear green contacts today, you can say whatever you want to. That's not going to affect me. I know the reason why I wear it. I know I have very poor vision, and I'll tell you, without these green contacts, I can't even make it around my house because I can't see. So here's my thing. If I have to wear contacts anyway, you can best believe if I want my eyes green today and gray tomorrow and hazel on Tuesday, please believe that's what I'm going to have. And it doesn't have anything to do with me having my brown eyes. I think my brown eyes look better. I get more compliments on my natural brown eye color than I do on any other color of contacts that I wear. So I love my brown eye color. However, I have to wear contacts anyway. I can't see without contacts. So, therefore, I'm going to wear whatever color that I want to. And I'm not going to restrict my eye colors to brown just because you want to say that I have to. Because you think that my self-esteem is somehow tied to the color of my eyes, which makes it... You can think whatever you want to. At the end of the day, when I stop making these videos, I don't even think about your comments until the day that you put them on there. That's when I think of them. I think about your comments when I read them. I comment on them, then I go on about my day. Some of yours, I don't even read it. I just delete it. Period. Because some of you have nothing to say except white supremacy rhetoric, and I don't want to hear that, because I can get on Fox News if I want to hear that. So therefore, I don't need to have you commenting on my video and projecting your low self-esteem onto me. Because yes, let me tell you, and I'll say I know the psychology behind it because I studied psychology. I have a degree in psychology. So therefore, the mind is what I love. I love how the mind affects your actions. And so that is why I study it. Do I just study it in books? Do I just study it in school? No. You will see me with books. That's why you see those books on my floor right now. You see the book under that table, because I like to read. I like to read. I like to get information. I like to inform myself. Right now, I'm reading a book on how black women's sexuality and how this myth of them being extremely promiscuous was developed from slavery. And it is very enlightening to me. And I think if a lot of black people educated themselves, then they could try to reprogram themselves and get the coon out of their mind. They can try to really pick apart the Willie Lynch that's ingrained in them. And you know what? A lot of people have it. A lot of people have it. It's not just, you know, the thing of it is, even even a lot of you conscious black men and conscious black women, you have it. Because you want to sit here and say you're conscious, but you're not even conscious enough about your own roots to know that weave wearing goes back to Egyptian queens. Okay? You're not even that conscious about that to know the origins of where weave and wigs came from. But you want to say you're conscious. No, you're not. You're not conscious. What you are is a conscious walking example of white supremacy in a black body. And that's why now white people don't have to practice colorism. They've passed the torch to you. And now you're practicing colorism. And a lot of you just want to stay silent about it. You want to pray it away. You want to march it away. You want to bed wench away. Or you want to or you want to suck on white vagina and try to think that that's going to get it away. It's not. At the end of the day, you're still a black person. You're still seen as inferior, and you're going to continue to be oppressed until you fight. So until you get up and stop being cowards, stop worshiping a white God and thinking somehow that white God is going to get you out of oppression. Has it gotten you out of oppression yet? No, because you're still in it. Black people pray and worship more than any other people. Why haven't you prayed yourself out of oppression yet? Because you're praying to the wrong God. You're praying to the God of the people that got you to oppression to begin with. How are you going to get out of oppression from white people when you're serving the same God as your white oppressors? Somebody please explain that to me. You're not. You're not. You're going to run around just like a mouse in a cage and a hamster on a wheel. You're going to run around in circles until you free yourself from spiritual slavery, until you free yourself from mental slavery. And you can't do that overnight. You have to be consciously aware of it. You really do. I have to make myself consciously not stereotype black people the same way white people do. And that is because I've been brainwashed too. The difference is I can be honest about it. I'm not afraid to stand in that truth and say that I was brainwashed by the media, because even if you don't notice it on a conscious level, subconsciously you are brainwashed. That's why I don't really even watch a lot of mainstream TV now, because I was just watching Basketball Wives the other day, even though I don't even watch that anymore. But I just turned on an episode and was disgusted by this black woman telling her black woman friend, once you go white, you know you'll be right. Really? In what world? Because there's interracial couples all over America and black men are still getting killed. Black women are still getting killed. So when has being with a white person ever set black people free? Never. Actually, being with white people is what's continuing to put you in bondage. Okay? Because post-slavery, we were doing fine until you guys wanted to integrate. Integration was the worst thing ever. The worst thing ever. And then a lot of you want to sit there and think that this is a physical battle. This isn't a physical battle. This is called a spiritual battle. That is what you're in. You're in a spiritual battle. And that is why they changed and stripped you of your spirituality and gave you theirs. Because the spirituality, I don't care what anyone says, whether you believe going out and hugging trees will do good for you. Spirituality is the most important part of a person. People will not marry other people if they have a different sense of spirituality as them. I won't. I'm not going to associate with you if you don't have the same spiritual beliefs that I have. Because my spirituality grounds me. It helps to make me who I am. So I cannot and I will not serve the same God as the group of people who historically and presently oppress me. And if you do, and if you want to, that is your business, but you are a fool. And I'm not going to be on that fool train with you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set myself free spiritually, because I don't want to be in that bondage. And I feel better now that I know that I'm not going to be serving this. Look at how much I'm matching. I really love it. But anyways, now that I know I'm not going to be serving the same God as a very group of people that hate me, I feel more free just by doing that. So if you want to go around and you want to still have this same perspective that white people have, you want to still serve a white God. I don't care what you guys say. With Christianity, you're serving a white God. I don't care about you saying you don't. Yeah, you do. If you're a Christian and you subscribe to American Christianity, then you serve a white God. And you need to just shut up, stop saying that you're not, because you are. So that being said, do that if you want to. I'm not going to. Do what you want to do. If you want to sit there and deny that you've been brainwashed, then deny it. But you're still going to be in the same brainwashed state that you're in. You're never going to get out of it. You're still going to be a mental slave. And if you don't get out of it fast, you're going to be a physical slave again. Or dead. Because really, if you're, what they're showing you is, if you're not a slave, then we just want you dead. Period. If you can't be in physical servitude to us, then you might as well just be dead. And that's what they're doing. What they're doing is they're picking you off one by one and seeing how many coons are going to justify this black person being dead. Because in the coon mind, somehow they have to find a reason that that person was killed, and they have to detach it from that person's race. Because then they can simply say, oh, if I don't do what that person was doing, then I don't have to worry about it. You do have to worry about it, because you're doing the same thing that person was doing just by being black. You sitting there taking the coon route out is not going to save you at the end of the day. You're going to be black. Once they decide to kill you because you're black or target you because you're black, really, we're all one traffic stop from being a hashtag. And I'm not saying you need to be driving in a car. You could be walking down the street and still be one traffic stop from being a hashtag. And it doesn't matter what you rationalize it as. It doesn't matter. You can sit there and say that man shouldn't have been running from the cops. You can say he shouldn't have stole some $5 Swisher Sweets that wouldn't have even got him a felony in jail. You can say all that you want to. You can evade reality as much as you want to. At the end of the day, just like it happened to Mike Brown, just like it happened to Eric Garner, just like it happened to Tamir Rice, just like it happened to Freddie Gray, and the hundreds of other black men that you tried justifying that cops killing up, that can be you. And it will be you if you don't stop, if you don't wake up and stop being a coon and fight against it. So, when I say black people are cowards, they are. And it's no coincidence that now you're a coward. It's because making you a coward was part of the plan. Like I said,